Mike Neville, former Met Police detective. How are you, son?
I'm very well. I'm pleased to be here in the studio.
Good to have you on. I'm still recoiling from that story in Russia. People are just texting and ringing in. The government has criticised Moscow's desperate rhetoric after a senior ally of Vladimir Putin threatened the Times newspaper over its coverage of the assassination of a Russian general. They described the Times and its journalists as legitimate military targets and said the journalists should be careful as anything goes in London, Mike. It's
totally shocking, isn't it? I mean, the Russians as well, they're almost like James Bond villains, aren't they? They don't just kill people, they make them sort of suffer, as we say all the time. And so I think it should be a case of the government. They should be expelling people from the embassy. Those sort of threats are completely...
I mean, those are real threats. You're saying to our sister newspaper, you're saying to one of the finest newspapers in this land, the Times, you better look over your shoulder. No, we never don't live in a bloody police state. Well, no, this is the country brought Novichok here to
assassinate somebody. So that is, we know they can do these things, so that's why the government have got to take it seriously.
Mike, got you in for two stories. Donna Jones, Hampshire's Police and Crime Commissioner. Do we love her?
Yeah, she's not bad, actually. She comes up with some good stuff occasionally.
She says the recording of non-crime hate incidents should be scrapped in their current form. A lock, stock and barrel review. The former chairman of the Association of Police and Crime Commissioners said police should not be responding to any incident that's not a crime. It's as simple as that, she said. Her comments followed the controversy over how officers police hate speech following an abortive investigation into the Telegraph journalist, of course, Alison Pearson, for apparently a tweet she wrote a year ago. And by the way, while we're at it, in London, you know, Sadiq Khan, we've got 18,000 knife crimes. Women get burgled, old ladies, they're not seen. Burglar, I mean, that's disgusting,
Well, it is disgusting. So you would expect, if the police had dealt with every robbery, every murder, every rape, every shoplifting, and they had a lot of time on their hands, then they could deal with, like, people being upset and whatever else. But they obviously haven't, because about 5% of crimes actually results in somebody being charged. The trouble with these non-crime hate incidents, people are locked into them because they go back to the dreadful murder of Stephen Lawrence. And there was, in my view, an overreaction there in the sense that what they said is anything. What came in after that is that if somebody perceived something to be racist or whatever, then it was to be recorded. And the problem is, in Britain, we've always dealt with evidence. You have to produce facts. Why are you saying this is racist? What facts? But the moment it becomes like a feeling, well, I perceived it to be, there's no challenge. How do you challenge that? You can't say, well, I
can't understand at nearly 60 that we're beginning to live in a country, and I find any racism abhorrent, and I'm going to say that. But I also cannot and will not accept that, you know, Hugh Edwards and his accomplice Jack Davis can walk free on a suspended sentence having watched the most graphic, disgusting images of 6- and 7-year-old kids and babies. I don't even want to go there.
I've been there.
A woman can write something that's misjudged and wrong but should be able to apologise. She's put in jail, and I don't understand. And by non-crime hate incidents, in my mind, just give oxygen to people who've got nothing better to do, and it makes the police, as you said, miss out on the real crime.
I think the other thing is what you've got to imagine, Jeremy, is that if the left like to control people, and those non-crime hate incidents make people afraid, so they're frightened to talk about things like immigration. So what you have now is ordinary people whispering in corners, and that's a really bad state of affairs. And what they've done, these people, if you control what people say, you control what people think. And these non-crime hate incidents are very good to control the population.
Why would senior police officers, Mike, in your opinion, accept this as a way forward for the police to bear?
Because the vast majority of the senior police officers who exist today, most of them are ex-university graduates. There's very few ex-soldiers.
Never been on the beat.
And they're focused on diversity and whatever else. They're not focused on catching criminals.
No.
They're not. So if you say to every chief constable, I want you to put a list on your door of every robber and burglar you have personally arrested, there'd be a lot of embarrassed faces because of the people with no names on the list. They've focused their life on a particular political agenda.
But if we carry on like that, what's going to happen to policing? The reason that many people voted reform in the last election was not as many people said, oh, Nigel Farage's talking far right. No, he's not. He's talking about what we used to believe were traditional Tory values, one of which was not a fear of crime, criminals fearing the police and the consequences of their crime, right?
And what people used to do, people used to report a burglary because they thought the police will come here, they'll catch the burglar, I'll get my television back. The only reason people report burglaries these days is so they get a crime number and can report